This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Students' experience is resistance to the knowledge and skills that we teach. This resistance has deep roots in the communities in which most teacher education students are socialized, as well as in the mainstream knowledge that becomes institutionalized within the academic community and the popular culture that most students have not questioned until they enroll in a multicultural education or diversity course. Sensoy and D'Angelo, who have rich and successful experiences teaching difficult concepts to teacher education students, thoughtfully anticipate student resistance to many of the concepts discussed in this adept and skillfully conceptualized book. They respectfully and incisively convey to listeners the important difference between opinion and informed knowledge. They also convincingly describe why informed and reflective knowledge is essential for effective teaching in diverse schools and classrooms. The authors also provide vivid and compelling examples, thought experiments, and anecdotes to help their listeners master challenging and complex concepts related to diversity, social justice, and equity. Sensoy and D'Angelo draw upon their years of experience working with predominantly white teachers and their deep knowledge of diversity issues to construct explicit definitions of complicated concepts such as racism, sexism, classism, ableism, and internalized oppression. Another important feature of this book is the wide range of issues and groups with which it deals, including race, gender, exceptionality, and social class. The authors also present an informative discussion of intersectionality and how the various concepts related to diversity interrelate in complex and dynamic ways that create institutionalized and intractable forms of marginalization. This well-written and practical book will help practicing educators deal effectively with the growing ethnic, cultural, and linguistic diversity within U.S. society and schools. Although students in the United States are becoming increasingly diverse, most of the nation's teachers are white, female, and monolingual. Race and institutionalized racism are significant factors that influence and mediate the interactions of students and teachers from different ethnic, language, and social class groups. The growing income gap between adults as well as between youth that are described by Putnam in Our Kids, The American Dream in Crisis is another significant reason why it is important to help teachers understand how race, ethnicity, gender, and class influence classroom interactions and student learning, and to comprehend the ways in which these variables affect student aspirations and academic engagement. American classrooms are experiencing the largest influx of immigrant students since the beginning of the 20th century. Approximately 21.5 million new immigrants, documented and undocumented, settled in the United States in the years from 2000 to 2015. Less than 10% came from nations in Europe. Most came from Mexico, nations in South Asia, East Asia, Latin America, the Caribbean, and Central America. The influence of an increasingly diverse population on U.S. schools, colleges, and universities is and will continue to be enormous. Schools in the United States are more diverse today than they have been since the early 1900s, when a multitude of immigrants entered the United States from Southern, Central, and Eastern Europe. In 2014, the National Center for Education Statistics estimated that the percentage of students from ethnic minority groups made up more than 50% of the students in pre-kindergarten through 12th grade in public schools, an increase from 40% in 2001. Language and religious diversity is also increasing in the U.S. student population. The 2012 American Community Survey estimated that 21% of Americans aged 5 and above, 61.9 million, spoke a language other than English at home. Harvard professor Diana L. Eck calls the United States the most religiously diverse nation on earth. Islam is now the fastest-growing religion in the United States, as well as in several European nations, such as France, the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands. The major purpose of the Multicultural Education Series is to provide pre-service educators, practicing educators, graduate students, scholars, and policymakers with an interrelated and comprehensive set of books that summarizes and analyzes important research, theory, and practice related to the education of ethnic, racial, cultural, and linguistic groups in the United States.